The Great Cheese Heist. Chapter 4. The Trail of Oil. While Cheese City fell silent under the weight of a sudden curfew, the only light in the city shone from the window of Detective Miller's office on the second floor of an old brick building. It was past midnight, and the empty streets evoked the feeling of a ghost town. Inside, Miller sat at his cluttered desk. On one side lay the evidence bag containing the cat fur, an obvious lie he hadn't even bothered to analyze. On the other side, under the beam of a desk lamp, was a small vial containing the single drop of black oil. Using a small chemistry kit, Miller tested a sample of the oil. The result, just as he'd suspected, was alarming. A high-temperature industrial lubricant with custom graphite compounds. This wasn't oil found in the city's cheese factory or any common garage. It was made for high-pressure, precision machinery. Machinery that officially didn't exist in Cheese City. The detective walked to his filing cabinet and pulled out an old, dusty folder. On it was typed, the clock tower case. He flipped through the crime scene photos from that night, the punched-through wooden doors, and the face of a cunning snake gleaming in the lantern light. He had closed that case with a note: suspect heavily wounded during confrontation and presumed deceased. Presumed, Miller whispered to himself, a word that now landed like a sledgehammer. He returned to his desk and pulled out a list of all the genius engineers and mechanics who had operated in Cheese City over the last decade. He started crossing off names one by one, but he paused when he came to one name: Ratchet, a brilliant but unstable mouse mechanic who had been fired from the cheese factory years ago for conducting dangerous and unauthorized experiments. Rumor had it he was interested in building mechanical limbs for combat animals. Miller found the address of Ratchet's last known workshop, a derelict warehouse in the city's forgotten industrial district. He put on his fedora and his trench coat. The time for analysis was over. It was time for action. The streets of the industrial district were dark and silent. Miller reached the warehouse, a rusting, crumbling structure. Its large metal door was slightly ajar, a faint, flickering light seeping through the gap. The detective approached cautiously and pressed his ear to the door. From inside he heard a familiar sound, not voices or movement, but the rhythmic, quiet scrape of metal on metal. He gently pushed the door open and stepped inside. The air was heavy, thick with the sharp smell of oil and hot metal. The source of the light was a single bare bulb hanging over a large, cluttered workbench. Upon the bench was a world of mechanical madness. Gears, wires, and strange tools were piled together. But what caught Miller's eye were the schematics spread across the table. He moved closer. The blueprints showed a serpentine, segmented structure, with a powerful piston designed at its end. At the top of the schematic, in bold letters, was written, Project Chimera. Beside the plans lay a half-finished metal scale. A steel plate masterfully crafted to look like a snake's scale, but much larger and far deadlier. Suddenly, the scraping sound stopped. The bulb overhead flickered and died with a soft buzz, plunging the warehouse into absolute darkness. Silence reigned. Then, from the deep shadows of the workshop, came a new sound, a soft, dragging noise. The sound of heavy metal sliding across concrete. Miller slowly reached for the inside of his trench coat. He was not alone, and he knew that whatever was in the darkness with him was no longer an ordinary living creature.